Hello, this is King Anthony, and I had a really weird dream. I actually woke up around 2:35-ish on 5/11/2019, and I went to bed a little earlier, around a little after 10 p.m. Anyway, I had this really bizarre dream. I'm gonna tell you what I remember from the dream. It started out with me driving my Chrysler 200. It literally starts as if I'm on 495, heading towards my grandparents' house. Now, my grandfather has passed away, but just bear with me for a moment with this odd dream, okay? So, in my dream, the only person living at the house is my grandmother. I was driving my Chrysler 200 on 495, and I'm heading towards Methuen, Massachusetts, and I get off on 213, and then I go to 100 Adams Avenue. Okay, and then I spend some time with my grandmother. I leave from 100 Adams Avenue down that road, that little street, and right before I get to the main road, there's this lady in a car, and I'm not entirely sure what kind of car it was, but it seemed to be like a darker color, like a reddish brown sedan, but I couldn't identify what kind of car it actually was. And it's this kind of African looking lady with really black curly hair. And for whatever reason, somehow I was just happened to be in my security uniform. Now, as of right now, I am a security guard. I literally just became a security guard not too long ago, and I work for Securitas, but that is down here in Florida, not in Massachusetts. So just keep this in mind. And I see this lady, and she has a whole bunch of keys. And I guess I'm heading to an Applebee's, because apparently this lady works at Applebee's, and apparently I was doing security, or had a security position for Applebee's in my dream. I do not work at security in Applebee's in real life. I do Dillard's security, okay, for Securitas. And I ask her if I can have the keys, I can go and open up Applebee's for her. And she's like, no, we still have about 4 hours before that happens, and there's no need to do so. Now, this happens, I'm actually sitting in my Chrysler 200. I have my driver's side window open, and she has her driver's side window open, and she's holding the keys up by her face in her left hand. Okay. Anyway, I drive to Applebee's. Now, the Applebee's in Methuen actually closed many years ago. And I think there's a Chili's there now, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I get to the Applebee's, I open the door, and then all of a sudden, I'm walking into the door, and then I walk right out of the Applebee's. So, the time in my dream of walking into the Applebee's and then coming out of the Applebee's, that whole section of the dream did not exist. I literally walk into the Applebee's and then I end up walking out the same door somehow in this dream. Really bizarre. Then I'm driving back to my grandmother's house, grandparents' house technically, 100 Adams Avenue. And there's this dog owner. She's on the left side. She had like short blonde hair, kind of older looking, maybe 50s or 60s. And there's like this tiny white dog. You know how I feel about dogs and dog owners. I think dog owners are dogs themselves, and You know, I don't like dog owners at all. I've never met a person who was a dog owner that I could associate with on a personal level, only a business level, which is very unfortunate. I've never been able to be successful at friendships with dog owners, and dogs have always scratched me, bit me, tried to attack me, lick me, pass on germs. It's just absolutely disgusting. That's why I don't like them at all. Well, anyway, in my dream, so I don't remember exactly what the lady was wearing. It was kind of like almost like gym clothes or whatever, or something similar to that. And she had this really ridiculously weird looking long leash, and it was like blocking my way. Well, anyway, in the dream, I wouldn't do this in real life. At least I don't think I would. And the leash is just there, almost like a finish line, and I drive my car right through the leash. The lady loses grip of the leash, and the leash gets caught in my grill, and it's actually dragging the dog on the side of my car. I just keep driving and driving and driving as if nothing's actually happening. And then the dog gets kind of pulled under and gets crushed underneath the front tire on the right side of my car, right in front of the neighbor's house driveway, in front of 100 Adams Avenue, which is my grandparents' house. So I drive my car there, I park in the driveway, and I go in and I chat with my grandmother. She's like, "How was your day?" And I just tell her, blah, 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 all this different stuff. I don't remember the exact quotes from my dream, but I remember talking about it. And then she drives her red Mercedes out of the garage and leaves. But I notice there's another car in the garage. And this is a car my grandmother has never owned, at least in this reality. Maybe there are separate realities where different things happen, maybe. But in this dream, it had a car. It was a silver Infiniti sedan. I think it was based off the Nissan Maxima, or maybe a Nissan Ultima. Well, it was like an Infiniti like that. Right. One of the more popular ones is like the Infiniti G35 sedan and G37 sedan. Now that's actually based off of a Nissan Skyline, and that's not the same vehicle that I saw in my dream. It was one of the other types, and it was a little older. It wasn't a 2019 model. This was probably maybe, an Infiniti that was maybe like 10 or 15 years old that I saw in my dream. And it's just there, just sitting there. And for some reason in my dream, I feel like, oh my goodness, this lady, or I ran over her dog. She might try to call cops or whatever. So I get the car keys. I move the Infiniti out of the garage, and then I drive my car in where the Infiniti was. I just let it stay there for a while. Because I thought, the police might come and all that stuff. However, I don't know if there was supposed to be more to the dream, because I feel like there was supposed to be more to the dream. But after my grandmother comes back to the garage, to the garage in her red Mercedes, into her port, and she comes in through the door, and she's like, "Anthony, why'd you move your car in?" I'm like, "Well, I just felt like I needed to do so." And that was kind of like the end of that, and I didn't really explain why. And then, at that time, that's when I woke up, and it was like 2:35 a.m. I mean, how bizarre is that? I think it's really bizarre. And that was my dream that I had when I woke up on 5/11/2019. So, thank you for listening. And definitely check this recording and see if there's any EVPs. I'm going to do that right now because I'm really curious. But there could be EVPs in this voice recording just because I was remembering a dream. I don't know if spirits were involved trying to show me something. Right, and it's so weird. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night as if it was a nightmare. But this dream wasn't really a scary nightmare. I would just say it was just an odd dream because it didn't make much sense to me. I don't know why it had to do with my grandmother and 100 Adams Avenue. I don't know why there was an Infinity, which is a car that, my grandmother and my grandparents have never owned. I don't know why there was a lady trying to show me keys. I don't know why we even had a discussion about keys while being each in a car. I don't know why Applebee's. That just seems completely random. I don't know what that's all about. But it was a bizarre dream. I mean, I could kind of understand, right? I don't like dog owners at all. But it's very odd behavior to just drive through right, a dog owner's dog leash. That's just really bizarre. Right. In real life, I probably would have just stopped and beeped the horn. I probably would have rolled down the window and shouted at them to get out of the way. But it was just really bizarre. And then at the end, it was like, it's almost like I lied by omission because I told my grandmother that I did it, but I didn't really explain why I did it. That was just really bizarre at the end of that dream. And I don't really understand that. I just pointed to the corner of my bed because I just saw kind of like a gray shadow, maybe about rectangle looking, and it was maybe about a foot high, maybe 6 inches wide. It was really weird. Anyway, now I'm getting chills on my shoulders. That's really bizarre. So there could be something paranormal here. I know, I always invite ghosts in, where I love talking with ghosts. I love interacting with spirits. I don't always see them. In fact, the majority of the time I don't see them. I hear them more than I see them, which is really interesting. I wonder why that is. Whereas with the majority of people who have ghost experiences, they actually see them more than they hear them. So, I don't know. Maybe I have a special ability. But then again, once I started doing EVPs, that's when I started seeing a lot of ghosts. And I had to train myself to do EVPs. First, I was just kind of a bit naive, just trying to do it with, a free app on the phone. And now I've actually learned over the past, like 2.5 years or whatever, how to really record good EVPs and keep getting good EVPs and how to listen to the spirits and listen to what they have to say and try to make sense of what they say, because sometimes they speak like broken English sometimes. Actually, I'd say that's, you know, maybe 2/3 of the time they speak kind of like broken English, but sometimes you can make it out and you can understand a phrase they're saying. And then on top of that, when I record water, like either water dripping at a specific frequency, whether if it's in the shower or if it's in a storm drain after it's rained, I can actually get reverb and I can get voices on my recording from the water reverb. And on top of that, I can even hear voices, disembodied voices, and sometimes I hear odd voices when I squish my mouth around, and I actually hear other voices coming literally from my voice box that I'm not actually speaking myself. And I've actually recorded some of those voices coming from my voice box when I squish saliva in my mouth. And it's literally my voice box is vibrating when I'm swishing that saliva in my mouth. And then there's EVPs coming out of that I've gotten. So this is huge. This is very important. But I'm going to end now because it's already been over 17 minutes. It's going to take me a while to look at this now. And hopefully you take a look at this and play it in reverse as well. Have a great day.